guys, today I'm going to show you the #1 practice amp that has proven to me that it is my favorite, and I wanted to share that with you guys, and hopefully maybe you can try it and it might work as your favorite. Today I'm talking about the Marshall MG100 HDFX. Now mine doesn't really look normal because I actually made it a drawer because I took out this part, but this is what it normally looks like. Now let's talk about why this is my favorite. Well, it's a solid state. Solid states are very reliable, very affordable. This was one of my very first amps that I've owned, and I've tried out many other solid states practice amps, and I'm actually going to read off a list to you guys. You guys probably won't believe it, but I've actually owned about over 100 amps, and I'm gonna tell you, like, Epiphone Hot Rod 5-watt tube head, let's see, Orange 8030 tube head, B52 amps, Fender Mustang, Orange Crush 35, PV6505 MH combo, the EVH Lunchbox, Black Star amps. I've owned a lot of amps, and I can just go through the whole list, and I have pages. Just anything, Hewden Kettner, Orange Mesa, everything. The PV Bandit. Anyways, the Orange Micro Dark. I have it all here. I've tried all of these heads, and turns out this head has just been my favorite. And I ended up buying those heads thinking I'm going to upgrade, and I end up selling those heads because I keep going back to the Marshall MG. Now, the reason why I chose this one, and I chose this one when I was actually in high school, was I wanted a 100-watt head. I thought I needed 100 watts, and turns out I did for a few gigs that I played in high school, and that was cool. I wanted Marshall just because it was a main brand, and I wanted something that had 2 channels and effects built in. And I wanted something that was very simple. Now, I'm going to show you the knobs on here and show you how simple this really is. You got your clean channel, which is a crunch right there, and that's channel 1, and then you have gain. This is overdrive 2, and you have your gain, OD1, OD2, bass, middle, treble, contour, another volume, and then you have your effects. You have chorus and delay right here. You have delay, chorus, and flanger, and then you have the effects level of these effects. Then you have your reverb knob, which is separate, which I love. You have your effects loop, which we'll get into in a bit, and your master. Now this is just a button that is supposed to sound more tube. I just leave it in at all times. I actually don't use overdrive 1 at all, and I barely use the crunch channel, even though they are really good, and I'll probably demo them for you too. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot these days because you can just get like any amp that has all these effects, but what I noticed about this Marshall MG is for what little it has, it does amazingly. And I actually was super excited for the new MGs that were going to come out, and I got my hands on one and I got rid of it right away. It was garbage. The effects sucked. It had all these programming modes that you can do, but even the distortion lagged. So yeah, and also it does have, I forgot to mention, it does have CDN emulate out headphones. I only use the CDN rarely, but I did when I was younger. So I wanted a solid state. I wanted 100 watts, and I wanted it to have, you know, be reliable. Now, this does come with a foot switch as well. I just made it drive, clean and drive, effects, and that's it. Very simple. Now, I'm going to go through the clean channel, and you're going to hear that, and you're going to hear the distortion channel. The other thing I liked about this amp so much you saw was that contour knob. This contour knob was a game changer. You turn it all the way this way and it sounded very deep and kind of muddy, but it kind of sounded like a Mesa. This sounds more like a Marshall. It's more mids involved, and I love that knob a lot. And the other thing I liked a lot, and which I learned after I got it, was how great the effects loop was. The effects loop just takes everything, and the fact that there's an effects level knob on the amp, and it's just every pedal I put through it, it always worked. It always sounds good. The effects on the amp mixed with the pedals that I have in the effects loop go great. The reverb on the amp and the delay. I use the delay. This is my favorite thing about the effects is this delay. When you turned it just a tad, it changed it to where it did exactly what I wanted it to without going crazy. Like a lot of these amps, you have to do a tap tempo, you got to do all this other stuff, and this one was just super simple. You just turn it a little bit and it worked great. The reverb, same thing. It's just you need a little bit, you add it. It's not overcomplicated, and it's just perfect for like, I just want to play. I don't want to have an amp where it's so much tweaking. Like I was actually kind of excited for that new Black Star like ID core, the head version, because it had all these different tube settings, and honestly, like, it just, I need to turn it on and play it and practice. I need to stop fiddling with gear and fiddling with knobs, and that's what this amp has always done that for me. Whenever I wanted something that just was reliable and it had good effects, I always go to the Marshall MG. I've never changed from that. So whenever I need to practice my leads or practice my rhythms or just practice a lot of the stuff with my band, every single time I practice with just myself here, practicing to our guitar pros, I just use that amp. And that's it. And I'll put it through anything I want as far as a cabinet. I've changed more cabinets to change the sound more than I have my practice heads now. I don't like practicing on stuff different. Marshall MG it's perfect. And like, I don't like the newer ones. I think they're garbage, and I like this one a lot. And the fact that it's even a shelf, like, come on. Like, oh, you need some guitar cables, you need some pedals, Velcros. It's all here. Like, I like how this is just simple, and it's just very easy. And if you guys can get your hands on one, they're like $100 to $200 with a foot switch. It's more than enough loud. Like, I've used it several times for whenever I played in high school, and I played like the Star Spangled Banner in the courtyard, and I had that with two 412s cranked up, and like, not even, I would say maybe it was halfway. It was loud, and it filled out the whole entire high school. Like, everyone in the courtyard heard it, and it was beautiful sounding for what it was, for a solid state. You know, like, it is what it is, and I would definitely use one. If I had to use a solid state live, I would probably end up using one. I've seen them live before with other people, and I didn't really care. Just because, like, once when it comes to a live setting, once when you start cranking a solid state up really high, they just don't sound as good as a tube, so I tend to use tubes. But just when it comes to practicing, I don't need to light up 100 watts of tube head pretty much ever. But like even at my 50 watts, you don't need to light up 50 watts of tube heads to practice to. And I just wanted something that wasn't going to burn my wallet of burning tubes. So I always use a solid state, and it's never caused me any problems ever. Yeah, no, it's been great. And some people say they're not reliable because they're made in China, but you'll be surprised how long it will last you, because I've had it for over 7 years now. I don't even know. I'm not even going to count, but I've had it for a while, and it's been great. And actually, if you guys follow my Instagram, a lot of you guys will be like, what? Because I'll do guitar snippets. Every single guitar that you hear on my story, 98% of the time, it's my Marshall MG. And every time someone comments and says, what amp are you using? What pedal are you using? How are you getting the distortion? And every time, it's my Marshall MG. And that's another reason why I kept it. It's because it worked well with like recording with my phone. So like I would record like a demo, and I just hit record, and then it would record it. And I've tried that with other amps, and it just sounded really muddy. And there are great other practice heads, but I just wanted one that was a head, because I find 100 watts very inspiring. I didn't really care for combos. Like a lot of people want to practice with combos. I want to practice with the same cabinet and speaker that I would put my big boy heads through. And if you guys know, I have a big amp, like tube amp collection. There's some of them back there, but like I play with the same cabinets back and forth. And for recording purposes and playing live, and I want to know exactly what I'm playing, and I want to know it's playing it exactly right. And so I play through 212s or 12-inch speakers. I don't play through little combos anymore. Sometimes if I was going through, like, say, if I was going on vacation and I brought like a little combo, that's one thing. But I just like practicing with like the actual, like, I would say guitar gear, like an actual a 12-inch speaker is just the way to practice, I think. Then a lot of people want to practice to the smaller ones, but like I can't tell if my palm mutes sound as beefy as they do than I would through a 12-inch speaker. So I actually think practicing through a 12-inch speaker compared to a combo is a little bit more important. But don't get me wrong, like that's just my opinion. I practice with not only timing, I need to get my timing in sync, but I also want to practice like how I'm picking and how, you know, if you guys hear I'm all the guitars in my band. Anyways, I want to know what is your guys' current favorite practice amp, and you guys are welcome to subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. Have a great day.